Welcome to this explainer. We're constantly rushing from one distraction to the next, right? Consuming information at absolute lightning speed. But right now, we're going to intentionally slow down. Today, we're unpacking a deeply dense piece of wisdom derived from a beautifully succinct source text. It's a philosophy that breaks the whole messy, complex human experience down into manageable, profound pieces. So prepare to reflect, because we aren't just going to read this material, we're going to map out exactly how it applies to the literal architecture of your daily life. 3. Have you ever noticed how human psychology, storytelling, and deep ancestral wisdom are just so universally anchored to triads? We see it everywhere, right? Past, present, and future, mind, body, and spirit. There's something fundamentally stabilizing about a three-legged stool. It literally never wobbles. Well, in our source material today, the wisdom we're examining uses this exact structural anchor to categorize the absolute chaos of life into perfect, digestible trios. Okay, let's dive into this. The overarching premise here is remarkably simple, but man, it holds incredible weight. We're going to take a text that's barely 75 words long and stretch it out into a meditative journey of self-reflection. The author grouped the entire human condition, our regrets, our values, our character, and our downfalls into 7 distinct categories of 3. By unpacking each of these triads, we can actually start to see a really practical roadmap for living a much more intentional life. Part 1. The irreversible and the unreliable, the external forces of life. Now, what's really interesting about this first setup is the shared absolute nature of these 3 specific elements: time, word, and opportunity. They are entirely irreversible. Once a second ticks by, no amount of money or power is going to buy it back, right? Time is the ultimate finite resource. Then consider the word. A word spoken in anger or haste or even in love, it immediately alters the reality of the listener. You can't unspeak it. It leaves a permanent echo. And finally, opportunity. It's like a window that opens just for a second and then slams shut. Missed chances don't circle back around in exactly the same way. Understanding that these 3 things never return is absolutely the first crucial step toward true mindfulness. Actually, let's just pause here for a second. I want to ask you to directly reflect on this. How often do you let these 3 slip away? Think back over just the last week. Can you pinpoint a specific afternoon where you kind of just wasted your time on something completely meaningless? Or maybe a moment where you spoke way too quickly and wished you could just grab the words right out of the air? Or a fleeting opportunity you ignored simply out of fear or hesitation? Just acknowledge it. Recognizing that loss is exactly how we learn to respect the power of the present moment. And this brilliantly illustrates a really profound contrast. The source material warns us that power, luck, and wealth are incredibly unreliable external pursuits. They're subject to the whims of the market, the opinions of crowds, and pure random chance. They can be wiped out in a single afternoon. But look at the flip side. Love, conviction, trust. These are the true, lasting foundations of the human experience, and they're cultivated entirely from within. No economic crash is going to take away your deep-seated convictions. And honestly, no string of bad luck can erase the trust you've genuinely built with someone over years of shared history. Part 2. The foundation of your character. Internal virtues. So the crucial point is how intimately these 3 specific virtues relate to one another: peace, hope, and honor. Inner peace is basically the quiet protector of your mind. When you maintain a calm state, you allow space for hope to survive, even in incredibly dark circumstances. Hope is your fuel for the future. And what holds them both together? Honor, your personal code, your integrity. Honoring who you are and what you stand for is the exact bedrock that sustains both your inner peace and your outlook on tomorrow. Seriously, if you compromise your honor, peace and hope are going to quickly fade away. This next triad details exactly how our identity is actively forged in the real world: work, honesty, and achievements. Think of it like building a house. Work is the physical labor, the grit, that sweat equity you put into your days. Honesty represents the quality of the materials you're using: transparent, solid, totally reliable. And your achievements? Well, that's just the visible roof of the structure. The source material makes a striking point here. Achievements are entirely meaningless, completely hollow, if they aren't built on a solid, unshakable foundation of honest hard work. Are your actions today building or destroying this foundation? Look objectively at your daily routine for a second. Is the way you spent your morning actively building your foundation of hard work and honesty? Or are you taking shortcuts, looking for quick, hollow achievements? We define ourselves every single day by our tiny, minute habits. So I really want to challenge you to evaluate if your current actions truly align with a strong, honorable person you're aiming to be. Part 3.
vulnerability and destruction, our internal battles. Let's move to and see how this builds a picture of our deepest vulnerabilities. The source material impartially notes three specific forces of destruction: alcohol, pride, and anger. And notice the rapid progression here. Alcohol, or just broadly speaking, substance and addiction, it numbs the mind and slowly strips away our daily discipline. Pride, that unchecked, inflated ego, it completely blinds us to our own faults and alienates us from the people who really care about us. And anger, that raw, unchecked emotion burns down the exact bridges of trust and love we were just talking about. Together, substance, ego, and volatility can rapidly dismantle that entire character foundation we just spent so much time building. Which of these is hindering you? And I ask you this not with any judgment, but with deep empathy. We all have an internal saboteur, right? We all have moments of weakness where we let our guard down. Is it a reliance on a substance to cope with stress? Is it a stubborn ego that just refuses to admit when it's wrong? Or maybe a quick temper that keeps damaging your closest relationships? Give yourself a moment to just sit with that and recognize it, because identifying your specific destructive force is literally the only way to disarm it.
I love you. The wise man from our source material concluded his thoughts with the three absolute hardest things a human being can say. And it starts with the ultimate admission of emotional surrender. To look at someone and genuinely say, I love you, is to offer them a piece of your inner peace and trust, fully knowing they hold the power to break it. It requires immense, raw bravery. Forgive me. Asking for forgiveness requires the complete, unadulterated death of the pride we just discussed. It means stepping out from behind your ego, dropping your defenses, and placing the resolution entirely in someone else's hands. Help me. This right here is the ultimate realization of human limitation. Saying help me is a clear admission that we just cannot navigate the uncontrollable, swirling forces of life entirely on our own. It strips away our heavy armor, It bridges the gap between our internal struggles and the external world, allowing those valuable forces of trust and connection to actually step in and do their restorative work. Counterintuitively, it takes a truly strong person to admit when they're weak. Who do you need to say these words to today? We've walked through a profound rule of three today, from respecting the irreversible passage of time, to intentionally choosing our internal virtues, to battling our destructive egos, to finally laying down our armor. But look, wisdom without immediate action is just trivia. So I'm going to leave you sitting with this actionable, deeply impactful question. Who needs your love? Who deserves your sincere apology? And where do you desperately need to ask for help? Don't let the opportunity slip away. Thank you so much for slowing down with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.